The Hairy Fairy. The Hairy Fairy wore a frown, much like a smile, but upside down. You see, all her sparkle and magic dust was hidden by gigantic tufts of wild whiskers and a bushy beard. She hoped and prayed for it to disappear. The other fairies laughed and mocked the Hairy Fairy's woven locks. This made her weep, it made her cry, which wet the hair beneath her eyes. She waxed and shaved and cut and cursed, but then it grew back twice as worse. One hairy day she'd had enough. She packed her bags and headed off to find someone to cure her pain, and then she would return again. A dozen doctors, a dozen times, scratched their heads a dozen times. None of them could find a cure, and so she closed a dozen doors. She wandered far and she wandered wide, until a goblin she did find. Complaining of his goblin troubles, he came to a halt when he saw her stubble. The goblin giggled, laughed and roared at the Hairy Fairy that he saw. The goblin took her hairy hand. He told her he was just the man. He whispered, "Trust me, Beardy, I'm your friend. I know the way your troubles end." The goblin fumbled, the goblin muttered. He danced a dance and coughed and spluttered. At last the goblin clapped his hands and shouted, "Butter me buns, I have a plan." This part, children, now I must warn you, is only for the bravest few. So if you're squeamish, close your eyes, dream of chocolate and butterflies. For those of you still listening, deep breath now, we're going in. The goblin said his magic words, the like of which you've never heard. Corned beef, spam and mouldy cheese, Mr. Wilson's knobbly knees, slimy toads and an old bootlace, banish fairy's hairy face. And in a flash, her beard was gone. Her face was smooth. But what was wrong? It seems the goblin, I must tell, had muddled up his hair loss spells. The fairy screamed, "I've got a problem! I'm balder than a baby's bottom!" So be careful, children, for what you wish. Stick to chocolate, toys and crisps. And if a goblin you ever saw, run home quick and lock the door.